Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording. Button.
Now, Vloggkast. Yeah. Now, just in case we don't answer the same bloody questions that we answered in the Vloggkast. Yeah. Sorry, the Creative Thoughts. Creative Thoughts, which I put a post on my the communal the communal bollocks. Just to say that the YouTube now revolves around the business. And a lot of people know this, but if you don't, then, and you do the Creative Thoughts podcast on your own, more or less, yeah. But I have spoke about the Imaginary Friends blog. Yeah. Which, you know, I will do in a behind the scenes video. Because you're doing the stepping stones, you're kind of creating promoting the whole thing. I am indeed. And also the spirituality behind for Imaginary Friends, I'm talking about that too in that. So yeah. Big time. And yeah. Which is where, I mean, it's going to be a short vlogcast because we have lots that we need to do. The office is a mess because I've been doing my radio show. And I'm really working on that. And my fitness and my everything else. A bit like lockdown, really, isn't it? You know, kind of working on, getting back to exercising every day, more or less. There's only one day that I can't exercise at the moment, and that's the Tuesdays. But I'm going to be running around helping with the RDA. I've got several of the bits and pieces. I've got my DJ Megatron, my Imaginary Friends blog, which is going to become a business at some point. Because I think I know a web guy. Well, I don't know him personally, but he's a person that I think we found, and I've got a couple of projects that I'm going to give to him, and I would rather do this professionally. Now I know what I want to do, and I want to do it as an actual website, and instead of hosting it myself, I'd rather if somebody else hosted it and we just email them a post every single day and they can handle it. Because we can turn it into a business. We can have real people behind something that I create. Now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have control of it, and obviously it's in the next year, so it's gonna feel weird doing a very real business plan on top of something that's not real, but it's something that I'm thinking about. And then the old Imaginary Friends blog, which is at the moment, it's, but the old websites we're going to turn into scrapbooks. Because that's the way we feel. Bloody hell, we haven't got to business shit yet. Well, you've kind of talked about your diet. Do you want to talk about? Should we talk about the business and then you can talk about Rosemary, or do you want to get Rosemary off your chest? Because she ain't here. Well, she's coming on the next one. Whoops, I've sloshed a bit of drink on the table. So yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to do sort of an art station kind of thing. Well, yeah. I mean, we've kind of got stuff that we need to do. I mean, but anyway, you and Rosemary. Yeah, so me and Rosemary, we aren't together anymore, as people probably know, probably don't. Something happened. Yeah. I kissed another girl when I was out. Casually. Siobhan, and it just... We met up again. It was just going to be for a drink, but stuff happened and things just happened. But me and Rosemary were still living together at the moment. We haven't got to the moving out stage yet. However, it's financing everything seems to be a big headache, so it will be for a while. Now, the business, Ball and Mackinhill Productions, is doing advertising, communal management. We're doing video, photo, we're actually doing a bit more than because we're using the Stepping Stones group to do arty-farty stuff. Do we have to write another proposal? Well, I'm just going to say to Paul and Gillian, I'm going to do some of my own projects in the group. If that's okay, as long as I have the resources. I'm halving the afternoon, so I'll have a timetable that I want to do for the afternoon. First half of the afternoon, as long as I've got the supplies I need. Because I'm doing a big project at the moment. And the whole show don't tell. Should be a big thing for what we do in the group. The show don't tell. Yeah. The stuff that I want to do outside the group, I'm going to have to be whole instrumental. Because don't we pay for art supplies or... Well, I don't know. I have a big feeling. I didn't ask Mike about using his place as well. So anyway, that's another... Yeah. That's something that we need to discuss. On a big level. Yeah. On a big scale. Working with someone isn't living with someone. That's kind of a... Yeah. But it's only for certain adverts because, you know, like we're doing for the fashion... Oh, not smooth sales. I'm not doing that now. No. But for the MGRX in June, which it's a web conference. It is. A lot's happened over. Oops. A lot's happened since I think is it good old COVID has disrupted things, but thinking of things being disrupted and a lot of politics happening. There's the company is sort of changing in a big way. We're dealing more advertising. We are looking at marketing again and branding. So as a small agency, we can only do so much. But we do stuff on the creative side, which, you know, do we need the space to do this? Do we need the space to do that? There is a lot to you know, to look at. Yeah. On those scores. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about was our phone system. Yeah. Laptops being phones. Next door is a prime example. We have the Conquest laptop, which is going to come here for a couple of days while Nathaniel sorts it out. We were using WAVX, which is a pretend programming language which we've been using for years, which we're still using on that. We're using BASIC and anyway, but we're using for the other laptop, we are using PC Basic, which is VTech's version. You can only use it on the older laptops because now VTech are going towards Scratch, which is why they've got they've got their online sources. I wouldn't use a VTech for Scratch. I would use another machine for using Scratch. But anyway, so we're on the VTech. We're building. I mean, we're not using the VTech Challenger as a phone, but we can use it as a phone, if that makes sense. We can call and text and all the rest of it, but we have a tablet or a phablet, as they're known in the trade, and that's a 12-line, no it's not, it's a 13-line phone. We've turned it into a 13-line phone. There are VoIP phones that you can get. We don't need those because we've already got soft phones on our tablet, and like I said, we've got 2 laptops which we're programming into phones. So it's a new time. We've got 2 switchboards which we're using next door, and we've got one of Nathaniel's laptops which is going to be an IPBX server. So yeah, it's a very exciting time. Especially for the way things are going. And plus we have quite a lot of smartphones. Yeah, well, we've looked at the virtual phone system, which like Google phones, I think the Sony phone, anything which works on Google. Unfortunately, I can't run anything on the Linux operating systems because this is primarily on phones. But guess what, boys and girls? You have chat bots, which are great for running phone systems, which makes the phone system a lot tighter. And card systems. Yeah, but we don't run our card systems on our phone systems. You don't run anything else you don't run on a phone system. You run a phone system on a phone system and something else on something else. You have like 2 or 3 card machines. One of the card machines like we have a phone that runs on that card machine, but that's a data line that talks to a voice line. You know, anything else? Oops. It's the cost of those systems. Yes, it's the cost of those systems. I mean, XCOM, which is changing its name to Teleservices Assist. And I'm working on the solution side of the company. So any problems that come up, I say, hey, call up the analysts. And in fact, we can use this agency to advertise the phone company and everything else, and vice versa. Now, because you're talking about the new service that's come. Yeah, the new service, which is the visual voicemail. Now, we have for us, we have got this transcripting service, which is external. They're in Preston, and they transcribe all the voicemails, but they also have bots that do it too. So it's, you know, and the good thing about visual voicemail is, if, for example, you get voicemails, you don't want to be, listen to voicemails, you want to get to the key thing. You can just look at the voicemail, you can look down, how many, whatever, and put it straight into the directory. And the database knows. But anyway, what's our database now? And yeah, I've got a guy in Preston who's, is that Matt, is it? Yeah. And they'll come down and they'll what's the name do? But anyway, so obviously I'm going to talk about our new phones in another video, and we're still using the old phone system a little bit. And my other company, which is Teleconnect, which was XCOM, my stepdad has kind of bought a bit of it because he wants phone shops anyway. It's puts money into the family, and it's a bit personal, that. But anyway, last and not least, your questions. Yeah. So we love your questions. Yeah. What have you been reading recently? Me, I haven't read a lot. There you go. When it comes to blog posts, and I share those blog posts, and that's what our blog is for. The Ball and Mac and Hill Productions blog is for holy crumbs. It's for just what I've said. For reading material. But I shared something great on my Facebook. Was it Facebook? I don't know. But anyway, people who ask on YouTube for reading material, now we've got the community tab. I think we can put some stuff into the community tab. But anyway, so there was stuff on TikTok a while back that you put on and people's like reading it, and yeah. I think the thing is, it's like scroll. Don't let the algorithm spit out reading material because you won't get it. You have to shop around. That's but I am creating reading material for my customers. There is a couple of ebooks which Tom McInhill and myself are working on. One is an activity book which has worksheets and it has example sheets and stuff like that in it. It's a bit more, well, it was going to be complex than that. And then the other one is the our own version of a corporate project manual, which is literally just going to be a guide. So they're the two things that we're working on. You can buy them, or there is a free version to the corporate project guide that we're doing, but it's you don't get the whole meat and potato because it's free. Whereas the paid version, you get lots more perks. And then there is another ebook that we're doing, which talks about the underground documentary, the UFO documentary, which follows that. There's an ebook that's coming first. The underground documentary. Yeah, I've had a meeting with people. Things have changed. I've got different footage. I lost a lot of footage, so you have to be patient. And the people that I was working with, I'm not working with now, and things have changed. So yeah, there is all of that. That's all I'm saying on that one. I've done countless stuff on that. And didn't you say the Book of Mothma was being done on Wattpad or something? Yeah, we're redoing it. Because there's been countless changes.
One notification. Instagram. 8 minutes ago. We Legional 1992. Anna Nightingale and Eric Adderam recently added to their stories. Attachment.
There has been whatchamacallit. There is basically the people that have been studying the mind. Oh my goodness grief, we're getting into that. Yes. And philosophy, there you go. There has been philosophists who... the thing is, when you study the underground, there is so many philosophies on what the underground is. And you have the underground, and then you have the subterraneans, and then you have the radical beings, or the radical angels, which is another organization. And when you become radical, you know what change is, and you understand the process of change. But the thing is, the thing with the underground lifestyle is that the subterranean lifestyle, which the subterranean lifestyle is very, very different. And there is people that are trying to study time, and they're doing it through spiritualism and astral travel and all the rest of it. And the mainstream doesn't. The mainstream thinks, the mainstream media or the above ground thinker, the person who's literally got their head in liquidization, basically seems to think that buying a newspaper and living the 9-to-5 job and having the perfect boss and all the rest of it seems to be the answer to all the questions, when it isn't, you know? When you think you've found the answer to the question, then you've actually found another question, you know? When you think you've solved a puzzle, you haven't necessarily solved a puzzle, and therefore you have to find another piece. Like, we think the Book of Mothma, it fits the puzzle, but then there seems to be another missing piece somewhere. And this is where it becomes very interesting, because you want to delve down. Like the theory of the black hole. You see, and now a lot of these mainstream people are seeming to hit rabbit holes, because they get dragged down rabbit holes, but then they get to a dead end, thinking the answer's gonna pop out at them, but it isn't, because these conspiracy theories are now selling them the answers that they want to hear, but they're not really the answers that they want to hear. And that's where you get these misinformation. But it's scaremongering people, and then the scaremongering tends to be what sells. It's what sells. And so this whole misinformation and fakery leads people to a dead end, and they haven't got the answer at all. They're just they just keep, and this is like the people begging for information. They're the ones that are buying the paper every day, and they're the ones that are reading the conspiracy theories, and then they start going down conspiracy theory lane. I mean, it's good. A good conspiracy theory is the one that asks the question. But the thing is, you've got to learn to retrace your steps. Because when you get a good conspiracy theory, and a really good one, and there are very few, but when you get a good conspiracy theory, chase it. When it's a conspiracy, when you know it's a conspiracy, then go back to the root of the question. Right, okay, well, the answer must be somewhere. Okay, well, that doesn't fit properly. Well, where? Then keep asking the question. And that is what good underground thinking is. Okay, so we haven't got to the root of the source. The source is the question. Where's the answer? And that's literally how you get your answer. And that's how, you're always people run into a lot of trouble because, it's the trouble that you run into maybe because, people are in dislikement of what they think's right. Who are you doing right by? We saw through the lockdown people losing their jobs, people protesting against their freedom. Then there was this whole wearing the mask, and then we saw this whole people taking offence to who could wear the mask and who couldn't wear the mask. So it's who takes offence, because when people said, well, actually you don't have to wear the mask, take the mask off, and we were like, well, we're trying to protect you. So, because there was people wearing badges saying, I don't have to wear a mask or whatever. So, when people said to us, I was like, well, actually, we can wear a mask. We don't find wearing a mask difficult. It's just that we don't like the feel of wearing the mask. So, anyway, but there was a massive war. There was the government were teaching us how to hate. in a very basic way because they didn't want us to love. Anyway, but there's the basics, you see, of how the mainstream work, and you have to work it out, you know? My brain just isn't for these kind of questions, you know? It's going very fizzy, turning into liquid. But anyway, so Julia asks, do you think that imagination is a new reality? I think people who've got an imagination, if you're talking on a spiritual level, then it's kind of, it comes very intimate. You know, you really get in to your spiritual side. The question that you should be asking is, what is reality? I did say this in my first Imagination of Spirituality episode, which is going to become a series pretty soon. And bloody hell, I can't think. See, Christianity is a religion that doesn't question what's real and what's not. It's this next world, it's, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. Everything in the church, everything is real. But when you want to make something up and use your imagination, that's when things become amazing. The Catholics use tulpas, but they don't call them tulpas. They call them icons, which really annoys me. But they're embarrassed to know that they think that the statues in the church, in the Catholic Church, they come alive. And they pray to Mary, which Mary is a tulpa in the Catholic Church, but she's absolutely useless because she was only Jesus' mother, and she loved him here on this earth, but she was not powerful. Mary was not powerful, and neither did she want the power. So anyway, read Revelations. She even says it in Revelations. So there you go. But I mean, the whole thing with spiritualization and imagination is when you find yourself daydreaming to the point where you think something's real, it won't be real, but that's when you can program the blank canvas because you've already got something there on the canvas. You've already filled the space. This is where Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared comes in, because all of the episodes are about creativity. All of them. I'm talking about the first series. I've not seen the second one, but all of those episodes, episode 1 deals with creativity, but it's about control. It's about when you create something and then you sell it and then somebody else buys it and it's not yours anymore. I mean, when they're saying and they say green is not a creative colour. Green is not a creative colour. And I love that line because that's when, control in the media, and this is where one of the theories come from. But in actual fact, it's nothing to do with the media. It's to do with control and creativity. I mean, if you look at Steve Hillenburg, he had rules when he created SpongeBob, his rules of creativity. His the law of SpongeBob. After the first 2 seasons of SpongeBob, when they did the movie, which was supposed to be the end of season 3, that wasn't the case because Nickelodeon, SpongeBob, was making them money. So getting back to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the first episode deals with, you've got an idea, but think if you're wanting to sell that idea, it's not yours anymore. So the first episode is about somebody buying somebody else's idea, but somebody else has got rules about that idea when you sell it. When you patent an idea, it's still, you're making money off of it, but you sell it to someone else, and it becomes very exhausting. Becky and Joe, both are very, very creative people and knew that when they were gonna sell this and make money off it, and it wasn't going to be their idea anymore. That's why there isn't very many interviews with them online, because they wanted to be, they wanted what they were doing to tell the story. The second episode deals with time in a very frustrating way. These are all about, again, and it's about lessons. It's about who's really teaching us. You have the education system, which controls what teaches our kids. So that was the second. the computer episode teaches us about a massive meltdown that people have when, again, they're giving an idea and it has to be, you upload the idea, and if people don't like and comment and subscribe, it's how the algorithm works. And people, if they go against the algorithm, that's it. It's not liked anymore. It's people hate what's not been shown. And it's all about control and fear. And Becky and Joe knew this. Now, the religion episode teaches us more or less the dark side of art and craft. Because it goes real over the top. But it teaches us that, hey, whatever religion you go to, it's not all about love. It's about acceptance. And if you're not accepted, then you can't be loved. It's taught in a very, very dark way. But again, it's about control and about who controls who. And these cult leaders controlling control, but using fear, but using love as a weapon to inject fear. So that's what that episode teaches us. Then episode 5 teaches us about food, but more about the food chain, and more about how everything is processed. But again, it also teaches us that on a darker level, that control and fear are in the food chain. They're at the top of the food chain, and anybody who doesn't follow what is being controlled or what we're fearing, then we get eaten. So that's what that episode teaches us. Then the last episode teaches us that to gain control of creativity, we need to go against the grain and dream up our ideas or know what our ideas are. Go and sell that idea. Go into the real world and sell that idea. If you know that Red Guy goes and sings the song, people boo him because it was his idea and nobody else's. And then he realizes, oh well, this idea was dreamt up by somebody else, therefore I need to go and have another idea. You know? This idea was just...
One notification. Instagram. 33 minute 11:01 p.m. 11:02 p.m.
Anyway,
Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording. Button.
That's Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared in a nutshell. Go. Are you listening to any music now? Doug asked the question. Am I listening to any music? Yeah, Logic Bomb, Volcano on Mars, Infected Mushroom, Sabbath, Status Quo, Pendulum, Metallica, Primus, a lot of punk, The Dime, The Clash, Pigs. Yeah, so I'm listening to a lot of music at the moment. Andy, what are you listening to? Black Sun Empire, Infected Mushroom, Logic Bomb, Alien Chaos. Oh yeah, you like Alien Chaos, don't you? As well. Pegboard Nerds. You've got a remix of one of their songs, haven't you? Hero, which has been done by so many people. But I do like the hardcore version. Which was done by Gamma. Yeah, I was gonna say Gamma's done. He just beefs up that remix. He fattens it up as well. Just like, yeah. Well, he made the drop quite fat on that tune. But did you know that? Did you know that Pegboard Nerds worked with Knife Party? Yeah, because that's how I got into Pendulum. Yeah, because Rob Scallon is in Knife Party. Yeah, but at the moment I'm listening to Black Sun Empire. They're freaking brilliant. Yeah, their drops are phenomenal. I mean, it's very, very glitchy, but it's like, whoa, like the snares are just so. I love how like they mix their snares. I mean, on trap music, I just think that the snares are just like way too sort of high. There's just too much treble with the snare, you know. Which for me, I think that it's like it's so thinned out. You know, like you have a hip hop snare, but they just kind of with a trap snare, it's so thinned out. Now, what they do is when you fatten up a thin sound, you get this horrible. You'll know what I mean. Which technically, I mean, with the hi-hats, they tend to. Again, there's this. I don't know. They do this weird thing, and it's like, you know, they compress it all too much, and it's like It's for me. It sounds so freaking shit. You know, are we talking solid gold? Yeah. Solid gold shit. But no, Black Sun Empire, like you said, I love how they mix the snares. So bloody brilliant. Yeah, I like Black Sun Empire. And Black Raven. I'm listening to a DJ called Black Raven. Just like more sort of trip hoppy kind of stuff, but very sort of timeless. Very sort of. I mean, that's the thing with intelligent dance music or idea or brain dance to a lot of people. You know how like the underground sound of that was like, you know, it's sort of like the music that your sort of spiritual body would be dancing to. It's like freaking hell. And, you know, you hear this music and it's like, wow, you know, like Jackson and his Computer Band. I love the stuff they do. In fact, they're well too intelligent for the stuff that they do. And then there's other people who do, you know, there is the guy who did Window Licker. Oh yeah, what a tune. I nearly bought that tune just to play at DJ sets. But yeah, I kind of want to produce music now. I don't really want to be playing music, which is just not me at all. It's like, you know, I mean, why do I want to play, like, you play music, it's like, why do I want to play music that I don't like? You know? you just like, what? And it's like your mood changes. It's like, I don't want to play this music anymore. You know, and you're spinning that shit for like what? And it's like, no, I want to hear something different. You know?
11:09 p.m. 11:10 p.m.
Anyway, we're going to finish this. It's gone way too long.
Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording.